acting class, and then I took an improv class at the Arvada Center. And then I really liked the people I did improv with. And then I met someone who did stand-up, and he said, you should really try stand-up. So then I loved it. I went to Comedy Works for like 8 weeks to watch the new talent night first before I got on stage, and was just petrified. Really the second time. The first time, like having babies, you don't know what to expect. So you're like, I think this might hurt, but yet again, might not. There's epidurals. There's ways you can medicate yourself out of this.
Vodka and wine.
Might not be bad. The second time, you're like, oh no, this does hurt a lot. So the second time I went on stage was just nerve-wracking. And the first time I didn't have anyone I knew in the audience. The second time, my husband at the time brought a ton of friends. So it was just so hard. But I don't know. I just still really liked it and kept doing it on and off until now. Up till now and continuing.
Right.
Not quitting.
No, don't. No. And if you've listened to Natty on the podcast, she has a little girl. I think she just turned 7. And so her next question is, what are your tips for mamas trying to be in comedy/entertainment?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. I think for moms and really anybody that your path might be different than other people's path, and that is completely okay. Just know what's right for you and your daughter, and go for it. You know, she's already on the right track and things, and just having a love for it is really good. So like, for example, I started when my daughters were 3 and 5, and nobody would work with me. One comic said, nobody's going to want to work with a female, go out on the road with a female comic. And it was kind of challenging to get that, because he said nobody's going to want to, they're going to want to go with a guy instead of a girl because their girlfriends or wives aren't going to want you with them. And Lori Callahan, God bless her, headliner, female comic, who has since passed away, but she took me out on the road with her. And my kids, so we would go out for like 10 days at a time. And I did it a couple times. Can you hear my kids?
The sorority is coming inside.
So I know. They were in their room and they just came out. They don't know I'm on a podcast because I didn't tell her. Because that's the kind of communication level we're at. So let me, speed that up. So they remember, like, I set it out to have people watch. My ex-husband was good at watching, and my mom would come help. But they said years later, I remember when you would go out on the road for 10 days at a time. And it was too hard for me, too. So I just didn't do that as much. But as they grew older, I had a morning radio show job, and that was fine. They had to get themselves ready. They were in middle school at the time, so it ebbs and flows. Like for me, that didn't work out, but I know some people, like the Pump and Dump girls, they travel a lot. It works for them. There's no one straight way to get there. And there's no one way. You may think you have it figured out, and then it just, changes a little bit for you.
And speaking of the Pump and Dump girls, that was not rambling. That was all great information. Are you still performing with them?
I do. I just haven't lately. I don't have anything on the books with them right now. They're just doing amazing. I think they're out of, I just want to say on Facebook, I saw they're like on the East Coast somewhere.
Oh, wow. So they're like traveling the nation.
They are traveling the nation, yes, and have young kids too, and it's working out fine for them. So just because I just had that story doesn't mean, again,
story.
that's the way it is. But just if you feel like you can't travel or you can't do something, or it's just tougher, or other people think you're not putting in as much effort, but really you just took care of your kids, worked, and, did all this. You did a lot. You're doing a lot, and you're doing great. So don't let anybody else tell you.
Everyone has their own story. Yes.
Yes. Everybody poops. To quote the book that I read to my kids when they were little.
I'm going to use
Everybody
that.
Poops.
I am going to use that sound bit. I am going to use that sound bit.
So
awesome.
Just because it's your poop and not someone else's poop, don't let them try and tell you that theirs doesn't stink or yours does, because everybody stinks.
It does. That's why I recommend Poopery. Have you tried that stuff?
No. Does that work?
OMG. Yes. You just
I gotta get
5
some.
squirts in the bowl of Wonderful before your break, and you don't even notice. Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Janet, and say you saw that commercial on YouTube.
No, I haven't. I tried it. I bought the stuff.
Oh.
I actually purchased it. I was like, what is this? Poopery? What?
Oh, my gosh. I have to show you that YouTube commercial. It's hilarious.
You'll have to send it to me, and I'll share it on the Facebook page.
Okay. All right, good.
All right, the last question for Stephanie from Natty. Mm-hmm. Who are your comedy heroes?
Well, I love Kathleen Madigan. I think she is hilarious. I've gone out on the road with her many times, and I just think she is a brilliant writer, a great delivery. Like, I would like to do more storytelling, which, by the way, your boyfriend is excellent at, too, on stage.
He just shocks me. I'm like, how did he turn that into... That's hilarious, but what the hell?
He is a master at it.
Yeah. It's just the way you flow and connect the dots and then loop it back around. It's just this art that you comedians have.
Thank you. Well, yeah, he's very good at it. And you know what? I have to say my heroes are people that I know more rather than sort of people who are the big, huge names. Like, I guess I listened to Steve Martin, I'm showing my age, on an album that you played on your record player. But I loved him. And so I'm going back to Steve. Right when I first started doing comedy, it was a Monday before Christmas. And I was opening at Comedy Works, and Steve was the headliner, and I was in a rush trying to get everything done before I got out the door, and I thought, you should bring your camera to record yourself. I'm like, it's the Monday before Christmas. Just get there on time. Don't waste time in getting that. And I show up, and Steve, the place is sold out. He sold it out, and he was brilliant on stage. So I learned you should always take your camera. You never know when you're going to have when it's going to be a great set.
That's the nice thing about cell phones now.
I know. Again, I would listen to albums of Steve Martin and had to bring my big, huge video recorder.
Does he still tour? I wonder. I don't know if you know that answer. I'm just throwing it out there. Does he still do his comedy?
I don't know if he does.
I know he does the banjo.
What? I just realized I was talking about two people. Steve Martin, I listened to. You got that, right?
Yeah.
It was your boyfriend that I opened for.
Oh. I thought you were talking about Steve Martin.
Is my Steve Martin, sorry, I'm all over the place, is my hero. But Mudflap, your boyfriend, is too. Someone
that's awesome.
I mean, when I first started, that's who I opened for. That he sold the place out and just had a great set.
Was that when record players were popular? I'm just kidding. That was a dig at him.
Okay. I'm telling him.
No, it'll be a test on if he listens to my podcast.
Right. Yes.
Did you listen? Oh, you still love me. Then you didn't.
Right. Record player, Steve. What's up with that? Huh?
There's an 8-track player right behind me. That he likes to play from time to time. Oh. All right. So how in tune with Hollywood happenings are you?
Some of them. Some of them I'm up with. Yes.
Do you realize how big it is for Kourtney Kardashian to split from Scott Disick?
You know what? I'm going to give it 4 months, and then I'm going to say they're back together.
You think? I think you might. They've been together for quite a long time. They have 3 kids. They've never been married. He's always had his issues with drugs and alcohol, but this time they say that it's done for good. Do you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians? I will, so you don't feel bad if you do. I do.
Sadly, Janet, sometimes I do.
Yeah, it's like time filler.
My kids watch it too, and this is why I do. I'm like, they're such idiots. I dissect it.
Yeah.
But I do watch it, so I have nothing to...
So if they take Scott Disick out for next season, they bring Caitlyn, it's going to be a whole different show.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Caitlyn.
How could you forget about Caitlyn?
I know.
She's everywhere.
In regards to the Kardashian empire, yes.
They're just...
Because I thought...
They keep reinventing themselves. They're like Madonna.
Oh, I feel so bad for... What's the youngest one's name? Kylie. I really have sympathy for her because who can relate to her life? Who else out there in this entire world can say, my family got famous on my sister's sex tape, and now my dad has become transgender, if I'm saying that correctly.
I think you are.
And is now Caitlyn.
Right. Well, it's Kylie
else.
and Kendall they're both younger. I think Kendall's like 18 or 19 and Kylie's not even 18.
She's 17, I know. And yes, I know that on my own. I did not need to look that up on the internet. I knew
Is it
that
the same
right
age
off the top
as
of
your
my head.
daughters? Like,
yes.
That's
so
what I was
just think of,
wow,
the 17-year-old having all of that to deal with.
And the 17-year-old has been having like lip injections, and she's looking a little bit more like Kim lately. Have you noticed that?
She does. She really does. Yes.
That's worrisome to me.
A little bit.
Hopefully they have a good counselor. I know they have full makeup and hair team. Hopefully they have a good counselor for them.
Hopefully their counselor's as good as their makeup artist.
Right. Oh, sad news this last week. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner are splitting up after 10 years.
I know. That is so sad. One day after their 10-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm. It's
Doesn't that seem a little...
That's a little hokey, don't you think?
I thought so, too. A little passive-aggressive or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they came out with a joint statement saying, after much thought and careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to divorce. I don't know. It's kind of like when Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston called it quits. I'm like, what? No. It's that couple that you thought was going to defy all the odds.
I know.
She tamed Ben Affleck. She turned Ben Affleck from the J-Lo boy to the Jennifer Garner boy.
That's right. That's right. But Hollywood is tough, Janet.
It is.
I mean, this is what... Did you watch Gone Girl?
I haven't yet. Is it amazing?
I'm not going to give anything. I'm a big Ben Affleck fan. I have to say, ever since The Town. Mm-hmm. Before that, I really didn't like him that much. But when he wrote and directed and starred in The Town, I was pretty impressed with that. So Gone Girl is pretty good, but he has one scene with, I I don't think I'm getting anything away. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Gone Girl.